World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, I am Peñano with today's World News in 5. U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States will eventually recover Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium and prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. Speaking at the White House, Trump said the uranium believed buried following U.S. and Israeli airstrikes last year would likely be destroyed once recovered. Iran is believed to possess around 900 pounds of near-weapons-grade uranium. Meanwhile, Reuters reports Iran's supreme leader has ordered that the material must not be sent abroad, signaling continued tensions over Tehran's nuclear program. In our news, U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States will send an additional 5,000 troops to Poland amid ongoing reviews of America's military presence in Europe. In a social media post, Trump linked the decision to his relationship with Polish President Karol Nawrocki, whom he endorsed during Poland's election campaign. The move comes after U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said earlier this week that a planned troop deployment to Poland had been delayed. Washington has been reassessing its forces in Europe while pressing NATO allies to take greater responsibility for regional defense. Meanwhile, in Belarus, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko says Belarus will not be dragged into the war in Ukraine unless its own territory is attacked. Speaking during joint nuclear drills with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Lukashenko said Russia and Belarus would defend themselves together in case of aggression. He also expressed readiness to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for talks. Meanwhile, Zelensky warned that Russia is trying to draw Belarus deeper into the conflict and said Ukraine is strengthening defenses near the Belarusian border. In Africa, health authorities have confirmed an Ebola case in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo's South Kivu province, signaling the spread of the outbreak beyond its original epicenter in Ituri. Officials say the outbreak has caused 160 suspected deaths and over 600 suspected cases so far. Neighboring Uganda has suspended flights to Congo as a precaution. The World Health Organization has declared the outbreak of the Bundibugyo strain a global health emergency. Meanwhile, unrest erupted in Ituri after protesters attacked a hospital over disputes surrounding an Ebola death case. In Asia, Taiwan says President Lai Ching-te would be willing to speak with U.S. President Donald Trump in what would be a first-ever direct call between leaders of Washington and Taipei since 1979. Taiwan's foreign ministry says no timing has been set, but the talks could impact a major U.S. arms package for the island. China has warned Washington to handle the issue with caution, reiterating its opposition to any official contact with Taiwan. Taipei, meanwhile, says it is committed to maintaining the status quo in the Taiwan Strait while strengthening its defense cooperation with the United States. And in South America, Pope Leo is expected to visit Uruguay in November as part of a wider South American tour that may also include Peru and Argentina. Uruguay's foreign ministry says preparations for the visit are already underway. The trip is significant for Uruguay, one of Latin America's most secular nations. Pope Leo, formerly U.S. Cardinal Robert Prevost, spent decades as a missionary in Peru and became a Peruvian citizen in 2015. And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, I am Win Peñano. Good day.
World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.